somebody say it's Morphin time.
Yeah, it's Morphin time!
1, 2, 3.
It's Morphin time!
Yeah, Lafayette representing. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Good to see y'all again.
Good to see you too. What's up, y'all? How you doing? Yeah. Man, I just want to say I like grits.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I get some grits, and some bacon, and sausage, and cheese, pancakes. I'm full right now.
Some beignets.
You want some beignets?
Need some beignets.
Beignets. Yeah. Beignets are good.
Like he got banned. Yay.
Yeah, you're right.
So what is a beignet?
It's like
It's a pastry, I know.
Fried dough with powdered sugar. You know, sometimes there's a little cinnamon in there.
It's like a churro, but different.
Yeah.
It's like a sopapilla.
Yeah. It's
Take a little trip to the Cafe Du Monde. Get yourself a
It's like 2.5 hours away, but I know a good place in town.
Is that right?
So we can make that happen.
Okay.
It's a tasty pillow of goodness.
I can't have one anyway.
Oh.
I just signed a non-disclosure for something pretty cool, so I gotta strip back down. That's all
What's
I
it
can
about?
say.
Well,
It's legit.
it's a non-disclosure. That means you can't talk about it, but you can tell me. I won't tell
I
anybody.
can talk about a non-disclosure. What else?
Hey, just tell them in my ear real quick.
Who wants to know?
What? That is so good. Oh, man, I would love to share that with you, but he signed an NDA. But I didn't. You didn't. Okay, I'll let it be. I'll let it be.
So what's up, man? How you guys doing out yet?
We good? We have some questions. You want to kick off a little Q&A action? You want to do that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Who wants the first one?
I do.
You want the first one? All right, you got it. You've got it. Hi, what's your name?
Sarah Henry.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, I actually have a question for Austin.
Yes, ma'am.
After you left the show a second time, I really want to know, what inspired you to go get your GED and bachelor's degree, and were you able to use it for something?
So, I was a rebel without a cause throughout my whole life, really. I still am, I guess. But I was one of those kids that if you told me I had to do it, there was no way I was going to do it. And then if I really had to do it, I was going to go grudgingly. I didn't like taking orders. Even from mom and dad, I was like, he knows how to ground me, or take this if I don't do that, so I guess I got to do that. Like, I had an authority problem as a kid. I loved and respected my mother and father. I just didn't like authority. So when it came to high school, I had severe ADD, still do. But back then, they didn't understand it like they do today. So they put me on Ritalin. Ritalin didn't work, and they took me off Ritalin, and then it was just up to me to figure it out. I never did. So I struggled hard in school. And because I had a master who had given me my black belt, I'd spent years earning it from him. His rule was, you get straight A's, period, as a black belt. You set the example where I'm taking your belt. I will bust you all the way back down to white. So, here's a kid with severe ADD, like, already my mind has gone to 15 places in our conversation. And having to focus on these things at school, surrounded by people. I knew that other kids were picking up things, and I couldn't focus, man. I'm the guy. How many of you sit down and read a page, and you read the same page 10 times, and sometimes you don't know what's on it? Okay, that's me, to this day. Once I dropped out of high school to take the show, went big on the show went enormous, great time, moved on, and all of a sudden I was out in the world and I thought, nobody's telling me I have to go to school anymore. And now I'm kind of curious. I was older, I had experience, I had a ton of experience from the show. And so I went and got my GED. I thought, screw it, let me check this box. I can do this on my terms, which is why I did it. So I did it, checked the box, and I was like, felt like the Staples commercial. That was easy. You know what I mean? I was like, I wonder what college would be like. Because my dad is like 2 master's degrees and working on his 3rd, and it's ridiculous. He's a lifetime student, which I am now too. So I decided, you know what? Let me just start with junior college, get my undergrad, and see what happens there. Did that. That was easy. I was like, okay. And I started to learn that as much as I struggled with some things, other things came insanely easy. Like if I was really interested in what I was reading, I almost had a photographic memory. But if I wasn't interested, I'd read that damn page 10 times and still not know what was on it. So then I learned taking notes. So I got my bachelor's in sports science, health studies, my first bachelor's, and then I got my second degree in emergency medicine. And what I discovered was, regardless of what struggles I had and the lack of support that was out there for people, I mean, people throw around ADD all the time as a joke. Oh, he's got ADD. Look at him. He ADD'd that, or ADHD, or something along those lines. And what they don't understand is it's a beast when you can't keep your mind focused on something. So the martial arts, my father and mother's discipline, and then eventually my personal will to prove to myself that I could do whatever I set my mind to, that's what drove me. It also put me in the fire department, made me a paramedic, made me a combat medic, made me a command captain of operations in the Middle East as a medic attached to the war effort. So I'm a pretty confident guy. I don't need to flex my muscles, but I know now, like many of you do or will soon, that whatever I set my mind to, I can do.
Awesome.
Let's kick it off. You have Chuck Norris as the Red Ranger. All right, good shirt.
Have you seen his shirt?
That's awesome.
Yes.
I love that shirt. Did you guys know that Chuck Norris has a fifth fist underneath his beard?
Which question, sir?
I got one for Austin and one for Walter.
All right.
One for Austin is, what time is it?
It's Morphin time!
And my question for Walter is, there was this movie you were in back in the early 2000s, a little known movie called Rap City Street Kids. I'm just curious how that came to be, because that movie was, wow.
All right, so Rap City Street Kids was a project a friend of mine was doing. He was a creator and was doing the animation on the project. And when he was writing it, he told me, hey, I got this character, this project that I'm writing, I want you to be the star of. And it's going to be really cool. We got like all these different people that are signed on to do it, and it's going to be a cool project. And it's going to be like the first of its kind. So what it is it was a Christmas story, but the whole story is told in rap. So every character raps, and like my grandmother raps, and I rap, and this whole thing. Now I'm not really a rapper, but I can rap. And I was playing this kid, you know, and it was a really interesting project. We had some great people attached to it. We had, I can't remember the names.
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill was in it. The girl from Mad TV, she played my grandmother. She was extremely funny, very talented. There's a lot of talented people attached to it, and it was aired one time, I think, on one of the major networks, NBC or ABC or something. But it wasn't the greatest project. It's
That's an understatement.
I think at the time when it came on, it was good enough for the producers to like it and for it to get on TV. It was different. It was a rap project, but now I'm sure if you look at it, you go, what is that? Yeah. It was crazy. But thank you for bringing that up. I'll see you later.
If he wasn't wearing a Chuck Norris shirt, I think Walter might have punched him.
All right, sir, what's your name?
Dan Medine. Dan Medine.
Hey, Dan.
This question goes to Walter. I always thought it was interesting how you come up with your own kind of like style, the hip hop keto. Have you ever thought about making an actual school out of that, or do anything with it?
Well, an actual school would be interesting. If I wasn't busy doing so many other things, I might delve into that. I mean, I think having my background as a dancer, a professional dancer, and then having a background as a martial artist, that I could, literally come up with some stuff that would work, which is what I had to do for the show. Of course, in the show, I had buddies, and they were stunt guys, and I could tell them, I'm gonna do this, so they would react the way I wanted them to. I know there are certain techniques that I would do on the Power Rangers that would not be effective, but look good on TV, So, like I did this, I would do this pinwheel, this spinning kick, I remember I did it one time and I was fighting like 6 buddies. It's a dance move. So you do this, that thing, and I'm doing it back and over and over and over and over again. Now in a fight, I would be really hurt because somebody would just go, bah! Nice. So that would not work. But you know,
it would look good.
It would look good, right? It would look good. But there were things, exactly, right? But my hands on the ground, I don't know. I'm blocking my face. But there are things that I did do that would be very effective. It was as the show continued, it became a thing about evasion. It was like, so if you threw a punch at me rather than just duck, I would dance duck, you know? Yes. If you did something, I would start using the powers of distraction as well. So I'm going like, look at this hand over here. You see this hand is waterway there, and I'm gonna hit you. But it would be a flow, you know? That can lead to a kick. You know, you don't know, you see, looking at this, but it's coming from somewhere else. So those things I think could be effective, just like the rope-a-dope or the things that Muhammad Ali would do when he would shuffle his feet, that kind of stuff, or capoeira. I haven't really thought about putting a school together, but I am thinking maybe I might do something on the net, maybe do a hip-hop keto move of the month. And would you guys be interested in something like that? Yeah. All right, we'll see what I can put together.
Good job. Good. You started that. Good job. I want to see that. Your name, sir?
My name is Christian, and I have a question for Austin. What made you decide to come back for Zio?
You know, it's the right time and right place. Shuki Levy, who was Haim Saban's right hand, approached me to do Power Rangers Turbo, the movie, and Zio, the series, at the same time. And it was just kind of one of those things that worked out. I liked the idea of being a 6th Ranger, and the only Ranger in the history of the show that ever held the power of 3 Rangers at one time. Wow. It's never been done before or since.
Beast mode!
So that was pretty cool. And then with Turbo, the movie, they actually offered to put me back in as the Red Ranger.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And
Awesome.
it was funny at the time because I was like, I'd been watching a bunch of evil movies, you know, some horrors and other things like that. Most of them really bad, like Leprechaun and stuff like that. You know, that was my kick at the time. And I remember telling Shuki, I was like, well, I've already been there, done that. I want to be evil. And he was just like, what? You Red Ranger, you come to be evil. I was just like, well, tell me it wouldn't make for a good movie. Jason Goes Evil. I was like, we did it on the TV series where we all like ended up evil for a day. You guys saw that. And I was like, what's the difference? Except that it'd be bigger. And he was just like, and then I could see his wheels start turning. And he didn't tell me at that time, but he was also talking to Amy Jo about Power Rangers Turbo. And the script came out, and I read it, liked the script. I was like, okay, well, of course, I got to start out good, and then I go evil, and then I'm good again. I'm still having an identity crisis because of this. But I thought, yeah, it was fun. You know, so in 30 seconds, I beat the snot out of 3 Power Rangers, and then I get dumped in a volcano, or no, I'd already been dumped in a volcano. It was a good time. So it was just right time, right place, and they let me be a bad guy, which is always a blast.
What's up, Flash? How you doing?
I have a question for Austin, and I also have a question for Austin and Wharton. I'm gonna ask the Austin one first. Austin, I have a question.
Yes,
what
sir.
did you like being more, the Red Ranger of Mighty Morphin or the Gold Ranger of Zeo?
I loved them both, but I gotta say that the Red Ranger is the beginning. Although the Gold Ranger was a pimp.
And a question for Walter and Austin. In season 3 of Mighty Morphin, why'd y'all stop using your weapons? Like, all you used was your fists. Y'all never use your weapons anymore. Like the power axe and the power sword. Y'all stopped using them.
Holy crap.
We were so powerful, we didn't even need them anymore.
I've never heard anybody say that.
That's the first time. That's a good question.
Very good question.
Give it up. From Flash to Spawn. Here we go. Hi. What's your name?
Dakota.
Dakota, what's your question?
Dakota with an H.
Yep.
Question for Austin. What was your favorite weapon? The power staff or the power sword?
That's tough. The power sword is super cool. I love that I can shoot lightning. I love that I can slice through whatever I want with it. But the power staff, as much as a sword is a symbol, the power staff was a symbol of something really cool. I don't know. It was definitely had more bling. It was shinier. What was your favorite?
Probably the power staff.
The power staff? Because it had more bling, right? I got you.
Did the Megazord use the power staff?
No, I had a pyramid. I had 5 Zords. You guys know that? Who can name off all 5 of my Zords?
Who can do it?
Whoa, wow.
Let's see. Tyrannosaurus.
Red Dragon.
So Red
Pyramidas.
Dragon Zord, Pyramidas.
Orc the Conqueror.
What? The Warrior Wheel?
Red Turbo?
No.
No.
Mercedes-Benz?
Mercedes-Benz. I had Mercedes-Benz.
I remember that.
I totally blanked on the 5th, but it's coming.
Titanus.
Did I drive Titanus? Oh, and I had the when I had the greens, the shield. I had the Dragon Dagger and I had Dragon Sword. Yeah, there we go. I knew it was in there somewhere.
Nice.
Awesome.
Hi, what's your name?
What was your favorite episode?
For every one of y'all. Favorite episode from Autumn over here? Good question.
It's going to sound very cheesy, but my favorite episode is always the first one.
Hey!
That's the first time that I get to call them the Power Rangers. It's the first time I hand them the PowerPoints. It's the first time we get to see them morph. So that's always my favorite episode. When we meet the team, they all come together and they win the day, and it's just a great origin story.
Oh, my favorite episode. I was just going back over there. I was like, I remember the first time he worked. I remember being in front of the camera and was going, it's Morphin time, and like doing the whole thing. It was like, oh yeah, we're doing this. We're like, we are Morphin right now. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but it's gonna be interesting. Yeah. I think my favorite episode, it varies because I have a number of, we did 80 episodes. I did like 85 episodes, and so there were a lot of them that were really cool. It's hard to pick out one. I'll give you 3 that I liked a lot. I loved the food fight. That was a lot of fun. Man, talk about being some kids that were just like, we get to throw food at each other all day, and you're gonna pay us? That's awesome. It was like so cool. There was that, and I also really enjoyed. Zach's birthday. Hey, that was fun at the party. I love the episode too where I taught the kids how to do hip hop keto. That was a lot of fun in the park. I think the monster that was trying to catch me was the moth monster or something like that. I don't know why I was afraid of all these animals. I was afraid of snakes, I was afraid of spiders, afraid of moths. That's different. I was like, I'm afraid of the moths. Okay.
They eat all your clothes, you look naked.
Yeah. That could be embarrassing.
Look at what happened to my sweatshirt. I'll give you 3. So the very first episode, because that for me was where everything began, right? And it was so incredibly cheesy I could barely stand it. I just remember watching Rita come out of that thing on the moon. I was like, oh. Who is gonna believe that? Well, now we've met. I guess my second favorite episode would have been my return as the Gold Ranger. And my third would have been Forever Red.
Yes.
You haven't seen it? Throw her out of here!
It's like the best episode.
I guess you can't ask a question. You totally jinxed that. We'll ask it. Hi.
Hi, my question is actually for Walter. So I just recently restarted binge watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and I was kind of curious as to what your experience was like working with Melissa and a robotic cat and all of that.
Yeah, that was fun. It was like, the show was doing really well when I got on the show. It was like, one of the top shows at the time. And I was a guest star on the show, so I only worked on it for a week. But it was a lot of fun, just like, being around those guys and the cast. And coming from the Power Rangers, knowing what it's like to have a family, cast members that you're with all the time, to see their energy and their set and their crew and everything was a lot of fun, and to be part of that for a moment was amazing. Okay.
Right. Yes, sir.
Your name?
Dwayne. Yeah, how y'all doing? This is my question for all three of y'all. How did y'all enjoy working on a new Power Rangers movie? The new movie that y'all created?
Question for all of us. What did we think of the new movie?
Yeah, we all working on the new movie y'all created.
Rita was hot. On a scale of 1 to 10, yes, please. I think I might have been an evil Red Ranger if she had been my Rita. Watch out now. I'm just saying. Evil little red babies and everything. Or reddish green babies. What color would that make? Red and green.
I think they would have been Krispy Kreme babies.
Which works, because it was in the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe they're telling me something. There's hope.
I really enjoyed it. I thought that they captured the heart of what it was to be a Power Ranger. They took a longer time to get there than what we did on the show. There are things that I missed from our show that I think that they could have taken advantage of. Like, we've all discussed that we think the Zords in the movie are way too small. Our
Mastodon has 6 legs.
Yeah.
It's not a cockroach.
And I miss my big gold monkey. I wanted Goldar. I didn't want the. I didn't want that molten thing that they had up there. But
Rangers.
But I thought they did a good job with it. I like the fact that Zordon's face moved back and forth. I thought that was very dynamic. But yeah,
I like the whole pre-story that they did with you and I.
Yeah,
I wish they had done that in the series.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the movie, they talk about Zordon was the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
So that's why he and Jason had that bond. I wish we had that in the original series.
Yeah.
That would have been epic.
I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was really cool. I missed the hip hop keto. I was like, man. And I talked to I lost his name just now. I talked to Woody Lee, and he was like, I tried to do some hip hop keto on top of the train, and they actually let me shoot something to like a breakdance move, whatever, but they took it out. I mean, that sucks. But one thing about the movie that I found to be very different is, in the Power Rangers series, we were all teenagers with attitude because we were confident. We all stood up for something. We excelled at something. Austin was an amazing athlete, martial artist. I was a dancer, popular guy, funny, whatever, charismatic. Amy Jo was a gymnast. David was a gymnast. He was a genius. And so we were confident and we were leaders within our own community. And then when it came time for us to be a team and to be leaders, we knew how to be leaders. It was like we were excited to take that on. It wasn't like when Austin said it's Morphin time, it was like we were in celebration, like, yeah. It wasn't like, oh, this is trouble. It was like, here we go, let's go for it. Like, let's go team. And in the movie, they were delinquent. So they were teenagers with attitude because they were delinquent. They had issues that they couldn't get beyond. And they had to fight their way through it to learn and become a team. And that's why it took them so long to become a team. I think our way is more inspirational. I think we made you kids, as kids, you guys went, I want to be better at everything that I do because I want to be a Power Ranger. And I think that's a better message to give to the kids, especially today. That's what we need. We need that. We need people to be an inspiration and not people to be lucky. Because in the movie, they became heroes because, well, the stone gave them all this power. But they didn't have a personal power. See what I mean? So I think I would like them to maintain that.
About the TV series is that these guys were given a choice. when they're first brought into the command center, Zordon offers them the chance to become Power Rangers, and they rejected it first.
We're talking about some float ahead?
Yeah. I mean, so Zordon allows them, to walk away, but, they keep the stuff in case they need it. But it's their choice to morph. And so I think that's a very powerful message that, you take from the TV show, is that they made the decision on their own, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great message. So.
Thanks. Good question.
Yes, sir.
Alex, I have two questions, one for Walter and then one for all three of y'all. First one for Walter. Whatever happened to Zach's on again, off again, never to be seen again season 1 girlfriend, Angela?
You know what? Angela, she was playing hard to get for a long time. And finally, at one point, we really had this amazing connection, and it was going to happen, and you know what happened? Dee, 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 dee. Zordon hit me up in the middle of it, and it's been done ever since. She just gave up. It was like, oh, man.
Is that what happened off screen too?
Let's not talk about that, Austin.
Okay, second.
Oops.
Second question.
We're having our own panel up here. Oh my gosh.
Okay, my second question is, now that you've had about 26 years to think about it, what is, all three of y'all, what are your best and worst monsters? From design to characterization, and this can be anything, any monster from any season, even the ones y'all's characters did not interact in. Best and worst monsters, design, characterization, voice, anything.
I think my favorite, I'd have to give it to two as favorites. Number one, the putties, because they're the unsung heroes of the show. They're the ones that made us look glorious as fighters. And then number two for me was a guy I fought every day like it was my doggone job. And I actually still hold the record as the only ranger ever to fight a monster unmorphed, was Goldar. So that was a big one for me. And then as far as the one that I hate, the purse monster. It was a pink baggie with a zipper up the front. Like, come on. Come on. It wasn't even like Gucci. It was like the homeless person on the street corner. They're like, oh, let's make this a bad guy. With the burrito in it and everything.
Because Japan.
My favorites are, it's a toss-up between Rhea and Zed. They were just constantly, challenging us. So those two are, I think, my favorites or whatever. The one that I never really kind of enjoyed, I was kind of like a little freaked out about it, was Pudgy Pig, because his arms came out of his mouth. That kind of bothered me a lot for some reason. So yeah.
I think I got to give it up to Lord Zed. Lord Zed was intense. The blood coursing through his veins was like something like, our kid's gonna watch this. It's crazy. Like, I thought he was pretty badass. Then I had to fight the Nasty Knight. Me and the Nasty Knight went head to head, so he was a pretty good bad guy. But I think the monster that we had so many weird monsters. Oh my gosh, there was one called the Oysterizer. The Oysterizer. It was like an oyster. It was weird. It was like a pearl in it and the whole thing. It was.
I just had a flashback from a Dove commercial.
Not moisturizer, oysterizer. Yeah, it was an oyster monster or something. We had that one, and that was strange. Eye Guy I always thought was just. I liked Eye Guy because it was so weird and quirky. Eye Guy, but yeah. I don't know.
What was the big frog-looking thing with the tongue that ate us all?
Terror Toad.
Terror. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
It was creepy.
Hi, what's your name?
Blake. I have a question for Walter.
Yep.
What was it like being a professional skater in the movie Brink?
The movie Brink was a lot of fun. That was Disney did a movie called Brink years ago. Eric Von Jagden and a number of other actors. It was a lot of fun. I was one of the bad guys. I was with Team X Blades, and then I had a change of heart after seeing what a butthead my guy was, and I went over to Team Pump and Subs and became a soul skater. I trained for that movie. About a week or two, they had us go down to Santa Monica, and I wore my rollerblades and everything else, and they had us going down ramps and doing jumps and leaps, and it was pretty intense. And we were being trained by people from the X Games, like different professional skaters. So it was cool to get to know those guys. I tell you what, trying to go down one of those ramps, you think, as you're going down, you think, okay, I don't want to fall on my face. So you lean back. As soon as you lean back, you're like, boom, on your butt. So you do have to lean forward over the wheels, like you wanted to go face plant, and then the wheels stay under you. But that was a lesson that had to be learned over and over and over again. But I finally figured it out, and then, with my luck, we get into the movie, and halfway through the movie, right before we do the big race, and we get to go down this hill, was I was excited for it, I trained for it, everything. My character breaks his leg. Yeah. Boomer got the broken leg.
Not in real life.
Not in real life, no, but the character did, so I didn't get to do the big race. That sucks. Yeah. But I did get to change the title of the movie. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
My name is Isaiah. I have a question for Austin. Which Morphin sequence is better for you? Like, which one did you like best? Because I know, when you was in Zeo, you really didn't have no wrist morphers. You had to do, hand gestures. And then with the power morpher, it was just, simple.
I think the principle behind the Gold Ranger was that, again, he had the power of 3 Rangers, so there was no single morph. For him, it was just a statement of action. He would call up the power, and the hands would cross, and that was just him drawing the power from the inside, and bam, there it was. So it wasn't connected to a crystal or a morpher. If anything, it was tied to the staff, but I didn't have to have the staff to be the Gold Ranger. It was just, the power came from inside. But my favorite morphing sequence, it will always be It's Morphin' Time. And it was funny because I made my move out of a Wing Chun martial arts move. They're like, well, come up with something. And we had stunt guys there, John Barrett at the beginning, and everybody was lending great ideas, but nothing felt right. And John was like, well, use something from one of your martial arts moves. And I went, and it clicked. And next thing I know, I had the morpher out, and it was there, and all it was a double parry into a block punch that I just shifted up into the punch of the block here. And so that's probably always going to be my favorite.
Thanks. Good question.
Yes, sir. My name's Garrett. On the show, besides Lord Zed's staff, how many of your props would come in broken or not exactly right? Also, the Green Ranger shield, because that wasn't, the episodes had 2 different shields throughout the series.
I broke everything they ever gave me. Again and again and again.
Did you ever drop your morpher?
Oh yeah.
I heard you guys
Morphers, communicators. I tell you what, it'd be a challenge for you. If you watch the episodes, you know how 9 times out of 10, when Zordon would call, we would hold our communicators like this, and we're all looking at each other in the hallway. You could always tell when mine was busted up, and they didn't have time to fix it, or forgot, because I'll be in the scenes in the hallways holding it down here, because the clasp is broken. So you'll see a few pictures out there of me doing this, and now you know why.
Do y'all have any of the fun props from the show that you kept? Anything?
I have the sign, the neon sign to Ernie's Juice Bar. So that's cool. At that, I have the skateboard from the pilot, and I have, I think, a shirt, Zach's shirt. I think we worked episode one day, and it was the end of the day, and I was exhausted. I was tired. I didn't feel like changing clothes. I just jumped in the car, went home, and that shirt ended up in my house and never got back.
I got nothing.
have any hands, so I couldn't take anything.
Fair.
You still have us.
What's your name, sir?
Did you keep the tube?
Eric. Hey, Zordon, quick question. As a kid, I didn't really question anything because I was just engulfed with the series all the way from season 1 to, good God, I like Zeo and whatnot. But season 1, dinosaur power, saber-toothed tiger, mastodon. You couldn't come up with, like, say, a raptor and this Megasaurus? Seriously, come on, like, the power of dinosaurs, except for you, Zach, and you, Trini. You get some mammals, because y'all are...
I've learned that you never question the Morphin grid. So if you have an issue with the saber-toothed tiger not being a dinosaur, talk to the Morphin grid.
Good answer.
It really
Essentially,
worked.
that's talk to the hand. Okay.
You know what? Hey man, don't knock it, because Tyrannosaurus had to eat.
Without the mastodon, the Megazord had no arms.
And an empty stomach. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Bryce. It's for Austin. Since you brought it up, how did you like the Red Rangers Forever episode?
Oh, Forever Red?
Forever Red, yeah. I'm sorry.
It was a pretty cool episode. I was stupefied because when I left the show, I wasn't following it. I think I've seen maybe 3 of the 100+ episodes that I've shot. I'm just, I get in the mirror long enough to shave my neck, brush my teeth, and I'm out the door. So starting myself on TV has never been like my favorite thing. I know other actors who love it. I know a lot of actors who don't. But when it came to Forever Red, I forget how they got a hold of me, but eventually I ended up on the phone with them. And they were like, yeah, we'd love for you to come out and do this episode with all of the other Red Rangers. Now, I knew Jason Frank had been a Red Ranger, and I knew that Steve took over for me when I left. But those were the only ones I knew of. I was like, well, how many more are there? And they were like, well, there's been 11. I was like, are you killing them all off? What are you doing to the Red Rangers? Do I need to come back and keep these guys alive? Is that what you're saying?
That's why the uniform is red, to hide the blood.
Let me tell you, I hid the blood and kept going. So anyway, it kind of tripped me out. I was like, there's 10 Rangers that are going to be in this episode. Are you interested? We need you for 2 days. And I was actually in the fire department in Virginia. And I was like, yeah, let's go. So I went out and got to meet these guys and see what they brought to, their season's Red Ranger and how they build their characters. It was a pretty cool experience.
Yes, sir.
So when Lord Zed came to Rita's tower, why do they still need Finster? Because Lord Zed and Rita would just put their staff together and make a monster. So why they need Finster anymore? Because he used to make the monsters. So I don't get why they still need Finster. Why did you need him?
Why, guys? Why?
Why?
You gotta always have a backup plan. What if their staff had broken? They would have needed Fenster.
There you go. Yes, sir.
So my first question is, have you all been following the Boom comics with the Satyr Grid and everything coming out? And what are your thoughts on that?
We were very lucky this past August to do a live read for the Shattered Grid, some of us, Walter and I. And it was an amazing experience to relive those characters through the comics. My hope is that they take that storyline and they animate it and bring us all back. Because I think it's a great story. We get to really see these guys take charge again, and that's my hope for it. I think the comics and the stuff they're doing right now is really energizing the franchise, so I think it's great.
Nice.
My second question, Austin, if you don't mind, could you get some more background on the production of how did you get an offer to be the Red Turbo Ranger after the Zeo season? I'm kind of curious about that.
I wasn't Red Turbo.
I mean, you said earlier that you were offered the role.
Oh, well, they were offering to bring me back as a leader.
Okay.
They didn't really care what form it took.
Okay.
And
wanted you back.
Despite who was already there.
Right.
They
That's
know-
why I was kind of curious
they know
about
who the
that.
leader is.
Yeah.
Oh, he knows. That's why he's so angry.
What's up, Spawn? You got another question?
I have a question for all three of y'all. What is your favorite villain out of Odin's or Goldar?
Out of who?
Ivan
Well, none of us worked with Ivan, but I did work with Goldar. I kind of like him. He's pretty good.
Yeah, I would have to say Goldar. Ivanus was kind of a one-shot. Goldar was a mainstay, so yeah, I'll stick with Goldar.
Oh, I know. Scorpina.
I was just getting ready to say that. Yes, please.
If any of you could have your own superpower, what would it be?
Ooh. To fly. I've always wanted to fly like Superman. I used to dream that I could fly like Superman, and it's funny because in my dreams I could do it. I couldn't do it at first. The key to flying was you had to really believe you could do it. And once you could believe, if you really truly believed, then you could do it. And the more you do it, the more confidence you got, and the higher you could fly. But then I would want to teach my friends, and so I teach my friends to fly in my dreams. So if I could fly, man, it'd be amazing.
I think I would choose super agility because I really like parkour, the way that they're able to use the environment to move. I think it's really amazing. So I think that would be my choice.
I'm trying to remember the name of the last airbender.
Aang?
Aang. I think I would love to have power over the elements.
Your question?
Mostly for Austin, but you guys could all answer if you want. What are your feelings on JDF's daughter possibly going for the Red Ranger role this next season?
I didn't know that. My feelings are, I didn't know.
My hope would be that they would choose the person that best fits for it. The one who earns the spot, I guess, is the hope that I would have for that. I don't think there's ever been a case where there was like an episode of nepotism in the series, so I think they should give it to whoever earns it. That's
No feelings on there being a female leader?
Oh, the female leader would be awesome, yeah.
There already has been.
Yeah, there has been.
What was her name?
Aaron.
Lauren was the first female Red Ranger. I think it was for 2 episodes.
Samurai.
And she looked better in the suit than I did.
Watch out, man.
I'd have followed her.
Yeah, I think, I know JDF's daughter, I know her, she's very talented. So if she got it, I'm sure it'd be because she earned it.
Yeah, I guess that would be my feeling on it too. If she's got the skill and, and everything that leadership type role requires, then go get it. More power to her.
Would you ever want one of your kids to follow in those footsteps and be a ranger, you think?
Hell no. My kids had better earn a paycheck.
Gotcha. What you say, sir?
So the Power Rangers movie was a different animal because it was always you guys in the suits. It's no reuse of footage. How did it feel wearing those suits specifically? Because it's not the same TV show suits.
Well, none of us were in the movie, so.
No. The Mighty Morphin movie. Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, they weren't in there.
I feel like an idiot. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No worries.
They went theirs.
I can tell you they explained. I've heard many of them explain how heavy those suits were, how many layers, how bulky they were, and how
They were
long
like
it took.
40 pounds each or something.
Yeah, how long it took to get in and out of it. The biggest problem with the Mighty Morphin suits was I almost turned into the Yellow Ranger many times because I couldn't reach that damn zipper. Somebody unzip me, I gotta pee.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I remember reading a while back about like a sci-fi movie that was going to have most of y'all. I think it was mainly produced by David Yost. Did that ever come out, or is it still in process?
Are you talking about The Order?
Yes.
Yeah. It's still in process. Karen wants to finish it this year. Last year we put out a graphic novel, which is a prequel story that tells you about the characters. But when I last spoke to Karen, she has everything in place and she wants to finish it this year.
90 minutes of action, guns, and leather. How many of you guys are familiar with The Order? Oh, that's not a whole lot of hands. So where do they go? What's the website, Dave?
It's www.theordermovie.com. Or if you just do a Google search for The Order Movie.
There's two that pop up if you Google it.
Yeah,
one is
yeah.
like an 1800s version. It's not that one.
Austin, you went blonde for that one, right?
You what?
You had blonde hair for that role?
Yeah, I did. It was almost. I was going for platinum white, and just because I kind of liked, I like some of what you see in Storm from X-Men and other characters that had that jet white. That's what I was going for, but apparently my hair is so jet black that they had to dye it so many times I almost burned my head off. And by the time it was over, I was like, neon orange will work fine. I'm good.
Looking forward to seeing it.
Respect, ladies.
Yes, sir. Your name?
Dirk, and I just had a question on the sort of training or the other workout routine you guys had back on the show to keep up all the moves and stay in shape during the show.
We had a stunt coordinator that would take us in the very beginning through a process where we do punches and kicks and so forth and so on. But once we started shooting normally, we didn't really have time. But what we did was we challenged each other. So often I would get with Austin and he would show me some moves that he knew from his martial arts styles that he had learned, and we would work on stuff. So we would do that, and then we also challenged each other, like with the stunt guys. The stunt guys were amazing martial artists from all walks, from everything from capoeira to taekwondo and various art forms, and they would teach us stuff, or they would show us. Hey, like we had a guy named Ian, and he would come up and go, "Hey man, let me show you this kick I've been working on." So it's like this. It's called a tornado kick. So you stand like this, you jump off the front leg, you do the kick, you kick with the front leg and land with the front leg. And I was like, wow, that's cool. So I would try it, and of course I didn't pick it up right away, but eventually I would get it, and they'd be like, man, I can't believe you learned that so fast. I'm like, I got skills. I got skills.
There was an incredible amount of exceptionally talented people on the show. Walter and David and Amy. I mean, all of us were very talented in different ways. So, and then you add in an incredible stunt team who were talented in so many other martial arts. I mean, it was the NASA of the martial arts world at the time. And you couldn't help but get around other super intelligent, capable people and learn from them, and vice versa. So the camaraderie was great. The ability to just grab a guy and say, hey man, would you spot me? Because I didn't come in knowing a whole lot about flips. But I picked it up, especially because I was so thick. Like I had a lot of muscle. You all know what happens when you put muscle in a pool, right? To the bottom. Same thing happens in the air, right? So getting my butt to go up in the air and do all these flips and stuff, it took a lot of work for me, but I got it down. And so I used to come up to guys and go, hey man, would you spot me real quick? Just put a hand on my back. And I started busting out backflips. And then I got really good at it and started doing it off 20-foot towers. So it's, my compliments to everybody on set. There was just an incredible plethora of talent.
And you guys never did any wire work, right? That was
later, yeah.
That was later on.
Yeah, I had martial arts before I got there, but I still learned almost every day from somebody who trained somewhere I had.
Last episode.
My last episode?
Their particular last episode? Okay.
I don't even remember what the last one was.
Yeah, I don't remember what the last one was either. I just know that the very last episode was at the point where we were negotiating for the contract, and we kind of left in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about what it
After
was for me
lunch.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even recall.
Hi, Thaddeus. Outside of agreeing with evil, and of course, David, you sticking through a couple seasons and then coming back in space, how did you guys feel about longer, kind of overarching storylines, and is there anything you would have liked to push more on the show for that?
I mean, but they wrote the episodes based on the Sentai footage that they had. So they were working, trying to crank out these storylines and to film as many of them as possible, especially in the early season. So I don't think they were really sort of thinking about having connected episodes until later on. And as Austin pointed out with the movie and stuff, it would have been nice had there been some more backstory that we could have explored with my character and the connection with all the other Rangers. But anytime you have a connected story, I think it pulls the audience in more. So the more that they can do that, I think is good.
Are they doing that in Beast Morphers? How many of you guys are watching Beast? Is it Beast Morphers?
Yeah.
How many of you guys are watching that? Not many. Okay. Well, is it any good?
Yeah, it's actually a lot better than the last stuff we've been getting.
Cool. I mean, are they doing like the overlapping stories? And stuff
Yeah,
like that?
they're starting to do a lot of stuff like that. Like they mentioned Raider Repulsa, they mentioned some of the other villains from older seasons, like a quick, we can't let what happened with these guys happen again with the Morphex. So they're doing a lot of that. And there's also a lot to do with the Morphin Grid, what they're calling Morphex now. So they're trying to take the Morphin Grid and make a chemical out of it to fuel their city. So it's kind of weird, but it's really cool so far.
Cool.
I think we were the first show that had cliffhangers, like as for kids, because that was commonplace in television and soap operas and that kind of thing. But it was a new thing for kids to be like, tune in tomorrow to find out will Zach lose, like whatever, that kind of thing. So
Green with Evil had 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was intense.
I know Austin got lost. Where'd he go?
Hi, my name is James. I was wondering, out of all Super Sentai, what would you like to have been adapted for Power Rangers? And if you could return as a Red Ranger or a leader or a mentor, what would it be?
I don't know if I got that.
If out of all the Super Sentai, if you could come back, which would you like to see adapted?
Yeah.
Which one would you like to participate in?
Wow. I haven't seen any. I mean, I've seen clips of the old stuff from the 70s and 80s, but I haven't seen enough to, I think, to really pull that. I guess if I had to pick one, I could pick it because I know of it, not because I've seen it. I would love to see the King Ranger return. The Gold Ranger was known as the King Ranger in Japanese footage, and he was apparently a beast again.
Since Zordon was an American invention for the show, he wasn't part of the Sentai. I wish that Zordon would have been part of the Sentai because I like to see, what more would have happened with the character. That would have been nice.
I would like to see some of the, and I know of some of the darker elements of the Japanese footage. I would love to see some of that in the current show, but I don't know that the age demographic of the people that watched in Japan, I think they were a little older than our little guys here today, so I don't know.
And you'll be our last question for the day, all right? What's your name?
Micah. So, for everybody, how are y'all liking Louisiana?
Good times, man.
Good stuff.
Good times, good music, good food. Having a good time.
So final thoughts, any upcoming projects you're working on you want to let us know about? Where can we find you online?
Yes.
Stuff like that?
I have
You have a video game, right?
How many of you are gamers?
Yeah, a video game.
I'm releasing a game. It is on Steam right now. It releases completely at the end of this month on Steam. Nice. We're going to be out on major gaming consoles. Well, I'll be making announcements about that in the next 60 days. It's called Black Salt Corruption. It is the world's only 3D arena martial arts fighting game. The only one in existence. And I have a character in the game. DMX, the rapper, is going to be voicing Dragunov, one of our bad guys. Master P, the hip-hop mogul, is now speaking to several other rappers to voice some other characters. In fact, he and his son just put out a demo on the game. So Black Salt Corruption, I have, how many of you are Amazon Prime holders? Okay. January, just released a TV series I shot last year called Fireball Run. I'm in season 11. Every season is its own, so you don't have to watch one to lead up to the next and understand it. And it's essentially 2,000-mile road race while figuring out, the only way you can get from point A to the end of the race is you have to figure out trivia questions that send you to locations where you get your next clue. First time to get to the end of the road race wins the game, and there's some fun stuff. A couple of Miss Americas in there. There's a Power Ranger guy. There's some cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff.
So it's like The Amazing Race.
Kind of like The Amazing Race. So that just released on Amazon. Those of you that have kids or little ones, check out a movie that is now out on Lionsgate that has me in it called Monsters at Large. It's kind of fun. I just got distribution for a faith-based romantic comedy that I did called A Walk with Grace. So if you're on my social media, stay tuned. I'll be letting you know where you can get that here very soon. And I have another TV series I'm signed on for this year. You'll know what it is when it hits, and but I can't tell you. And then I've got another video game that I just signed on for, and I can't tell you about that either, but you'll know when it happens.
Is that what you told one? Is that
I haven't told him about the new game yet.
Oh. Dave, what you got coming up?
Well, I'm an author, so I have a book coming out this year called Glimpse. It's a paranormal urban fantasy. Once it starts to get out, it'll be all over my social media. Karen and I are also working to finalize the order. And if you guys know about the video game Battle for the Grid, you might want to keep your ear out for that one. So.
Yep. In fact, the Power Rangers movie, Power Rangers game, Battle for the Grid is coming out, I think, in April. I'll be doing a Twitch thing for that coming up next week with Sierra Henna and Peter Sadarso. I'll be doing a Twitch thing as well under the name of Mastodon Man Cave. Whoop whoop. And I got a movie coming out with Melissa McCarthy, Super Intelligence. I did some voiceover work in that, and I am working on developing a TV show that's based around dancing. And what else? If you guys want to follow me, I got cards on my table for Instagram, Facebook, everything. It's all Walter E. Jones at Walter E. Jones. So YouTube and so forth. And we just want to let you guys. We love you guys, man. Thanks for everything.
Coming up next, we got Sean Patrick Flan.